This is the face of the flinch. The guys who have trained are different. If you hit them, they don't flinch. It takes practice to get there, but if you want to fight, you have no choice. You must learn to get hit. It's the only way to win. This book is about how to stop flinching. We live in the information age, where the steps to achieving any goal can be easily searched, but we're still not doing it. It's as though part of the picture is missing. There's a big X in the equation. This missing piece to the puzzle is the flinch. The flinch is our real opponent, and information won't help us fight it. It is this that is behind every unfulfilled life. It's an instinct that tells us to run. It's a moment of tension that happens in the body and the brain, and it stops everything cold. Most people have been trained to ignore the flinch, refuse the challenges, and to turn back. The flinch is there to support the status quo. It whispers in our ears so that we dismiss a good idea that requires a lot of change. But the problem with the flinch is that it's based in a brain that wants to protect us. It sees shadows as threats and creates blind spots. As we discovered our world and learned best practices from others, the flinch was learning too. It pushes us to judge some ideas as good and others as bad, thereby guiding our behavior over time until our decisions became streamlined and automatic. But once you learn to see it, the flinch can no longer hide. It will be visible to you forever. Car crashes, bike accidents, explosions. In moments like these, we need the flinch to survive. But most situations we encounter in today's society aren't like this. We live in a safety net, but we continue to flinch regardless. We don't flinch at bears because there are none. But we do flinch at the prospect of public speaking or going to the doctor's office. Think of a bear. You see it and you react instantly. You know how to deal because your brain is built to help you survive it. You run, jump, fight, or hide. But that's not the world we live in, so instead, flinching happens at job interviews or when you're asking a girl on a date. Somewhere in the world, a lion wakes up every morning not knowing what it's going to eat. Every day, it finds food. The lion isn't worried. It just does what it needs to do. Now, somewhere else, in a zoo, a caged lion sits around every day and waits for a zookeeper. The lion is comfortable. It gets to relax. It's not worried much either. Both of these animals are lions. Only one is a king. If you watch the playground over an afternoon, you'll see some kids making a lot of mistakes, getting hurt, and learning a lot. They use trial and error, the basic way we learned to walk, jump, and ride a bike. This process of trial and error is inherent to life. It's simple and it works for understanding our environment. This curiosity is why kids touch burners. They want to know how things work. They're interested and they're not spoiled by the flinch. They test their environment and they stop when it hurts. The scars they get are medals they've won, not deformities they need to hide. They use the scars and the pain to understand how their world works, to grow and get more confident. For a while, these kids think they can do anything. Now, on the other hand, some kids turn into observers. They want to touch the burner, but when the parents say no, they stop cold. They take their word for it. So in the end, there were no consequences and nothing was really learned at all. No scars, no lessons. Over time, these kids get more careful. Instead of climbing trees, they watch other kids climb. Is this you? Did your parents' fears become your fears? Maybe they flinched for some things, so maybe you began to do the same. But you see, behind every undiscovered flinch is a lesson. If you do everything your parents' way, you'll never discover the truth. You'll never discover the edge. You'll never get the lessons you need. Forget second-hand learning. It leaves no scars and no lifelong lessons. It might as well just be a dream. But there's a problem. As you learn, you're also falling down and getting scars. The pain repels you and you start fearing and predicting pain. You combine it with lessons you learned from other people, and finally, you start to protect yourself from things that haven't even happened. From the inside, this feels like getting wise, but it isn't. Avoiding the flinch withers you like an old tree that breaks instead of bending in a storm. Unfortunately, this is where most adults end up. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, would your childhood self be proud of you or embarrassed? Look at the finish line now. It's far and it seems impossible. Maybe it's up in the clouds and the journey is treacherous. You imagine that you weren't meant for this. You think you're not strong enough. And in a sense, you're right, because you're quitting before the pain even sets in. But what you're missing is that the path itself changes you. You're weak because you haven't stepped on the path. When you do, a process will begin. As you climb the mountain, you'll get stronger. Your plastic brain will be shaped by the path. You'll just change along the way. The path itself will toughen you up for the end. Right now, you just need to start. Consider this. You are in your corridor, and every flinch is a door you can open with a new scar and a new lesson behind it. The flinch will block you, but once the door is open, the threat vanishes. A new path appears. You need to find your dragons, look them in the eye, and destroy them. Samurai and their modern counterpart kendo practitioners say that fights are won internally even before the killing blow is landed. They face an internal struggle before they ever face the enemy. Now the question is, how do you know when the fear means something and when it's just pointless? There's a process for it. First, find a safe place to decide from. If you feel threatened by the man next to you on the subway, move away first. This way you can focus. Then once you're ready, listen to yourself. When you're facing the flinch, you use words like stupid, safe, pointless, or anything else that is soft, judgmental, and blurry. The flinch thrives on making risks look worse than they actually are. So look for those words, act anyway, and judge from hindsight instead. You'll know you've opened the right door when you feel a strong, irresistible impulse to do something else, anything else. When you feel the flinch, you can shut it up by talking out loud. Ask a clear, strong question. What are you afraid of? Say it whenever you're avoiding the flinch, then force yourself to answer. Or just call it out, flinching, flinching. Here's a fact. Those who face the flinch make a difference. The rest do not. The ability to withstand the flinch comes with the knowledge that the future will be better than the past. Krishnamurti, an Indian sage, once said, "You can take a piece of wood that you brought back from your garden and each day present it with a flower. At the end of a month, you will adore it, and the idea of not giving it an offering will be a sin." In other words, everything that you are used to, once done long enough, starts to seem natural, even though it might not be. The flinch doesn't want you to change. It believes your identity is what has kept you alive and stable. But it's a trap, because almost none of the risks modern man takes are fatal at all. Most of your flinches don't protect you from fire, bears, or death. You see, in times of stress, whatever pattern you're used to taking emerges. The way water always flows in the same path down a mountain, so too your behaviors. In your brain, the grooves are already deeply embedded, so the behaviors are automatic. We must break our old patterns to create new ones. Flinching cannot be eliminated. This is a basic fact. Flinching cannot be undone, but it can be transformed. Fighters train for years to learn. Here's how it's done. In a state of fear, most people put up their hands to defend themselves. They back away. But the real trick is to do what the professionals do. They use the speed of the flinch. They use its intensity to their advantage. Law enforcement officers, professional fighters, and members of the military, all of them learn systems that leverage the flinch. They use it to react faster than their opponents even realize. Instead of flinching back, they flinch forward, toward their opponent and toward the threat. When you flinch forward, you're using the speed of your instincts, but you don't back off. Instead, you move forward so fast without thinking that your opponent can't react. You use your upraised hands as weapons instead of shields. You use your fear to gain an advantage. Start with small threats in safe environments. They'll build confidence for your larger jumps. Eventually, you'll get used to it. You'll find yourself flinching forward toward everything as a habit. Facing the flinch and being willing to get the scars that come with it is the only thing that divides your present from your future. Those who fight it are easily identified. You can see the fire in their eyes and the determination that practically courses through them. Their determination is like an aura. It can be felt just by being near them. Those who are unwilling to face the flinch are obvious too. Their eyes are dead, their voices sound defeated, they have defensive body language. They're all talk. If you choose the ring, you're already better than most. Why? Because you chose to fight. You are a contender, and almost no one can say that about themselves. Now, the ring offers no promises, but one thing's for sure. Unless you get in the ring today, you don't even stand a damn chance. Success works as a cycle. Growth and contraction, balancing and unbalancing, all while you're encountering hurdles that get higher and higher over time. The pressure will never entirely disappear. If it does, you're on the wrong path. You're in the corridor again. You need to find a new door again. You need a bigger fight. Discover the things at which you flinch. Public speaking, asking a girl on a date, meeting strangers, martial arts, dancing, singing, whatever they may be, find them and conquer them. It's time you made the world flinch, not the other way around. Refuse a scar-free life. Choose the flinch.